What's going on, guys? Thank you for tuning in to Connected by Creatures. We're going to have an awesome show tonight. Zach and I are extremely happy to host our friend and fellow reptile keeper breeder, Mr. Dillon Smith from D's Balls and Exotics.
Who's that guy?
Was good.
What's up, y'all?
Dillon, man, so first off, appreciate you coming on and doing this with us. It means a lot to us for anybody who's willing to give us their time. Right off the bat, man, let's jump in deep and talk about where you're from and what you're doing in the reptile game and what all you got going on over there.
Yeah, man. So one, thanks for having me. I mean, I just like chopping it up, so I appreciate it. It's an honor. And as far as like what I do, I mainly work with ball pythons and Burmese pythons. I do have a few other projects growing up, and I just keep a lot of reptiles. So I have a few other species as well. But as far as the breeding, I'm really just focusing on Burmese pythons and ball pythons. Kind of just whatever I like. I don't work with the crazy 5, 6, 7 gene shit. I'm just working with what I like and building off that. And as far as the Burms go, I'm selectively breeding for quality, genetics, and size. I feel like that's kind of lost in the Burm world and kind of the ball python world too, is quality line breeding.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I definitely agree on that. And with you talking about breeding what you like, I think that's the ticket. I think that outside of I need this gene and this recessive and that recessive to try to keep up with the Joneses or whatever, man. I think
right.
It's, you breeding what you're interested in is going to keep your passion when shit gets rough. And we all know that, there's times when it's rough.
Exactly, man. And plus you want to be happy. Like, we're going to be opening these tubs and seeing that snake for 20 plus years. You want to be happy looking at that snake. It wants to be something you wanted to make, or you liked it. I don't, there's some combos I'm like, it's awesome, it looks cool, but it's not my thing. So I wouldn't be the happiest guy in the world coming in being like, oh, let me open that tub,
Well, yeah, that's why people talk about just like, oh, what gene should I buy for my my first breeding project? Like, I don't know, what do you like?
Yeah, right.
Like, what are you gonna be passionate
like
about?
Stuff,
yeah. What are you not going to complain about having to be up at 5 a.m. cleaning tubs or some shit, or going to bed at 2 a.m. after cleaning rats, because eventually you're going to get to that point where you're going to have rats and stuff, laying around, and that shit's work sometimes, man.
Right. A lot of work.
So you got to work that stuff, man, that keeps you smiling through that shit.
I think this is the first time that it's actually been brought up on this channel. You made a good point, man. Like, nobody really thinks about the longevity of keeping reptiles. Like 20 years, that, like, most people's dogs and cats and stuff don't live 20 years. Like, these animals, if you take care of them properly, you're looking at 20, 25 years.
Yeah, and I mean, that's even like the low end of the average for balls. Balls will easily live 40 plus with like proper care, And so I don't know. I just think about that. I don't want to be one of those guys like, I get all these breeders and then I sell them off. And it's not to say I've never sold a, breeder size animal. Like I have, I'll say that right out. But yeah, I just want to keep those animals. Like if it's a project I want, like I still have some original stuff that honestly is like nothing. Like I got an old normal female. I just love her. I couldn't get rid of her. Like, it's she's 20 plus years old and she's a ball. Like gives me, 11, 12 eggs. Like that's awesome.
Yeah. It's funny, man, because we have an old male cinnamon ball python, and he's kind of like he's retired. This guy, he just hangs out, he gets fed, whenever he wants. Like he's had a good life. But the thing about that snake is we've had him forever, but still to this day, if I put a rope in there he's gonna try to breed a rope, man. So if there's pairings that aren't getting it and aren't going, I know that cinnamon will always get on. I mean, you can put him in there and you can leave the tub open and watch, and within 15 minutes that dude's trying to lock up. Like he's just
that's
ready
awesome.
To go.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's going to be my damn Mojave Ultramel, man. He's going to be the same way. I'll still have that snake in 10 years and he'll still be.
Yep. Just I don't breed it, but that's like the oldest snake I have is a 22 plus year old corn snake of all animals, right?
I was gonna say of all that's a weird one. You wouldn't think about that being that.
Nope. Nope. It's
That
it's
snake
just
has
one of
seen
those
some
things.
shit.
Like, oh, dude, for sure. It was actually my dad's snake that I ended up with. So like,
Man.
it's been in our family alone, over a decade, and it was already an older snake. So
See, the stuff I think about when I hear about a snake, that's all just like, I think about how was it kept as a baby, compared to like the way it's, and like how many different like setups, like it's probably experienced the whole spectrum of reptile keeping.
So, that's kind of funny because I thought like its whole life it's been in a tank, and
Yeah.
even I, like when I first got the corn, I had it in a tank for a long time.
Yeah.
So now I have
And I
it in
think
a
that's fine for
4-foot
corns,
PVC
really,
cage,
anyways. Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
this snake probably feels all pimped out. Like it's the bottom 4 foot behind me that's actually got, all the substrate and plants and shit. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just love that snake, man. But it's funny you mentioned that because I always think about that. I'm like, as a baby, this thing probably saw so many fucking heat lamps and tanks and this and that. Like,
Who put the heat
man.
rock in there? Damn it!
right? Well, dude, so I used to keep like a few snakes before I actually made the jump into breeding. I've always loved reptiles, so I always kept a few. For years, I kept shit in tanks before I knew better, or like the industry
Man,
and
we all
PVC
did.
cages were a fucking thing.
Yeah, we all did.
So I find it funny.
Oh, for sure.
Most definitely. And I kind of wanted to, because you and I have talked. I keep a bunch of different species of reptiles. Like I got all kinds of different stuff, and I know you do too. So outside of your breeding projects, like I know you've mentioned the corn snake and the savannah. Like what other types of reptiles are you keeping? You just out of hobby and love.
I've had geckos. I'm actually sending my last 2 geckos off to somebody this next week. I got a giant sulcata tortoise. He's my buddy. As a 12-year-old dude, his name's Rampage. He's like 70 pounds or so now. Right next to me, my hedgehog's actually running around. I know, kind of weird, but albino hedgehogs. I've kept a lot of amphibians. I've been kind of scaling back on the stuff, honestly, a little bit. So, like, I just recently got rid of my amphibians. I got my Savannah monitor, who's that big cage over there. Yeah. My retic that'll never be bred. I just wanted to give her a good home. Then I've got the corns. And then I do have, like, some little stuff that I'm keeping, like the colubrids I'm raising up. I have a blood that I just kind of wanted a blood, see how I like them. I might work with it in the future, but right now I just have her as a pet, and I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I want to see how I like the species first before I just jump into breeding something.
Yeah, I respect that completely. I think that a lot of people kind of dive into stuff and they don't really know what they're messing with. And well, I'm gonna get a pair of these and a pair, which I'm guilty of doing that with the African house snakes, man. Like, I've studied up on them and read about them, but when I had the opportunity to get them, I pulled the trigger. I was like, and now I absolutely love them. Like, I love those things. I think that they're a great, even first snake for people. Like that, they're they don't get huge. Their appetite is ridiculous. Like, I throw frozen thawed pinkies in. Don't try to tong them or any of that. So I just frozen. Yeah, and I can throw 2 or 3 and they're gone. Like, they just hammer.
That's awesome,
for food. Yeah, they're fun, man. I like them, and they're a weird species because they're kind of like a python species mixed with a colubrid. It's a weird thing. But
I've only seen pictures. I don't know much about them, but they look cool as hell.
Yeah, I've only got the black ones. Like I've only got the solid black ones. Like I know that there's some other people, like Garrett's got a bunch of stuff going on. He's got some leucistic ones. Like he's got some blue-eyed leucistic ones. Like there's some cool different types of morphs and stuff coming out in them.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I think I probably like your black ones more.
Yeah, they're neat.
I don't know about you guys. I'm not a huge fan of white snakes.
No, I've kind of gotten away from that. I
mean, they're cool.
I still think they're neat. Like, yeah, for sure they have their place, but I don't. Yeah, there's something else. There's just something about a pattern snake and getting all the the different color gradients and stuff that I think I miss out on. That's why we love pieds, right? Like you get the best of both.
It's the best of both worlds. So you get that splatter with that wackiness.
Yeah. I think the popularity of pieds proves that not everybody loves a white snake as much as they say they love a white snake.
Yeah.
given the option, I'd much rather have a pied version every time.
Right. No, that's cool though, and you make a good point, man. Like everybody thinks about breeding everything. I'm never gonna breed the Savannah. I was never in amphibians and geckos. I did dabble with the geckos, right? I'll say that was bad. For some reason, I can breed pythons just fine. Geckos are another story.
Really? What kind of geckos did you have?
Cresteds.
Okay.
And I had a female for a long time, and then I found this male that was just stunning, and I didn't really know much about the lineage and stuff. I just knew I had two really cool looking animals, and I wanted to see what they'd produce. Yeah. Everybody says they're super easy, which is true. They lay like super easy. Just put them together, you're going to find eggs in the cage. But the incubation, I don't know what it was. I messed up the incubation over and over again. I had a few successful babies, but I don't know, man. Not my thing, which is fine with me. Like, I just like them as animals too. But there's a lot of stuff like that. I'm not gonna breed hedgehogs, but albino hedgehog looks cool as hell, and they're I don't know, they're awesome to fuck with and play with.
Yeah. And that's what brings a lot of us into this stuff, anyways. Because there's a lot of us that are like, again, like Bradley keeps a ton of different reptiles, but then like Chris Ward's got like weird Maine Coon cats, and like he also I think keeps some hedgehogs and that kind of thing. So we're all, I feel like, to some extent, almost everybody that I know that's into exotics are into exotics, like in everything. We like weird dog breeds and weird just everything. It's got
speaking of that,
different.
The girlfriend's gonna get mad.
And I think everybody's
her rhino iguana.
Right. Rhino iguanas, yeah, man. Dude, I would love to have one.
Dude, he's cool. I was never an iguana fan, I'll be honest.
No, me either.
But then she really wanted the rhino iguana. I was like, all right, I got all my big snakes and stuff. You can have whatever you want, right?
Sure.
Got her the rhino iguana. Now I find myself coming in every day just to pet him. I'm like, he's a cool dude.
Well, I think that like
you guys those pictures of the iguana cage. I'm in the middle of building right now. Big huge enclosure.
Dude, that thing's badass.
Yeah, that's gonna be freaking nice. If anybody hasn't seen it, definitely check it out. It's indoor and outdoor. Like that's so sick.
That thing's awesome. I'm hoping when we get the sulcata greenhouse done, our goal is to build a big greenhouse in the back so he can be outside year round, and just keep it heated. But I kind of want to do something where on the hot days we can put the rhino iguana out there securely, and he can have just a big area to roam with the tortoise and stuff. So I always thought, when I saw Bradley's pictures, I was like, okay, that's badass. You gave me even more inspiration for that. I'm like, okay, well, if I can do some levels and throw it up where he's not in the tortoise's way and they can separate, that'd be pretty cool. Otherwise, it's too cold here.
Yeah, I know, like, Tyler Nolan's got, he's got small tortoises, but, he's got them where they share their own little hot box or whatever, and just kind of has it, again, just big enough to where everybody's kind of got space in there.
Yep, well, they're little for now. Doesn't he have those Aldabras?
Yeah.
That's a dream tortoise, man.
Dude, like, it's funny, obviously, like, seeing things often enough, it's just like when you have a puppy, like you blink your eyes and they're huge,
Yeah.
Because you just don't notice the day-to-day growth. But like seeing his stuff, it's like he might show them once every couple of weeks.
Right.
Dude, you go back and look at like when he got them versus now, those things are like 4 times the size already. And
it's crazy how fast some
he showed
of them
the parents.
grow.
They're massive and they live forever, hundreds of years.
I'm not sure on the sexual maturity on like Aldabras, but you and I were talking about it in the live stream the other night that the sexual maturity of tortoises, it may be 25, 30 years in some cases.
It's nuts. It's crazy to think about.
Those Aldabras are
dedicated.
Stunning.
Oh, they're beautiful. Especially when they're small because they're just so clean and shiny and like just perfect.
Yeah.
Not that they're ugly when they get older, but they get all just different. They get all wrinkly and they always got dirt and dust and crap all over them.
I just love the giant animals. I don't know if you haven't been able to tell by now, I got a thing for big reptiles. And Aldabra's a dream to me. Like
So how long have you been into berms?
I've been into them forever. My whole since I was a kid, but as far as keeping them myself, it's been about 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
I've worked with them hands-on a lot before that, and I've just always had this, love for them. It's just kind of one of those things. Like, I just didn't, like a lot of stuff, I don't just jump into it. I wanted to do my research. Then I had friends who had berms. Well, her parents had berms, so I was able to handle them then growing up and stuff. And then, just life position kind of until recently, having a supportive partner, I was able to kind of, follow those dreams of having bigger animals before that. I made the dumb choice of letting the ex be like, no, no big snakes and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Man, you can't have that. Like, you got to have say to do the type of stuff that even Zach with his dwarf, his Salayers, like, I mean, you have to have somebody that's compatible with you to be able to keep the type of retics and berms.
Yeah,
and all that
for sure.
And it's no, like, not saying anything distasteful towards whatever person. It's just they're big predators. And like, I can understand people not being comfortable. Like, I wouldn't want to have a pet lion. I mean, I would, but at the same time, like, that's something that you would have to think about, and some
for
people
sure,
just aren't as comfortable around. Like,
no, and I think that's something that big keepers don't talk about is the responsibility factor. You don't just jump in. You got to be prepared. Like, it's going to become a big animal. And, I'm thankful to have my girlfriend who's super supportive of this now, helps me, and I got some good friends who are super supportive. But it's something you got to think about, and a lot of guys just don't bring it up.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting thing to like have to have a conversation with somebody, like whoever you live with or whatever. Like, hey, if this ever happens where like I'm getting wrapped up by a 7-foot retic, like, let me give you some instructions on how to deal with that situation if it does arise. Like, these are not normal conversations that people that don't keep big snakes have to have.
Right.
But yeah, I mean that's the thing. And then dude, I didn't think about like when I started this new job now, like my schedule's real hard to work around. Like, what if one of my animals gets sick? I never thought about that. Like, what if I'd have to get a retic to the vet? And so like I had to come up with that solution on the fly. And so for anybody that does ever have to deal with that, what I ended up doing was I just basically prepped him for transport. So I bagged him and boxed him, and then left him on like the midway to the hot and cold side in his cage, and had somebody else take him to the vet for me. And thankfully like they were willing to do that, and the vet was cool with me not being there for the appointment. And so there was still some things that just had to kind of go the right way. But stuff that you have to have a plan for, all that shit, and then how you're going to pay for it and stuff, like it's just
not to mention given when you get into the big snakes and you have a 12-foot plus snake that needs medicine, you got to restrain that animal, and two people sometimes just doesn't cut it. I've unfortunately taken in a snake. One of my first berms actually was severely sick, and we had to give her injections. So already an angry 12-foot plus animal that has no socialization, and now we have to restrain her and give her injections.
Yeah, it's brutal, man. Because I mean, like even my snake, like they're even as weak as he was and everything else. Like, dude, that was like a 5-foot retic, but he was full of fucking hate and anger,
right?
And that's just a mentally exhausting thing, because it might take you 20-30 minutes just to get them like restrained initially. I mean, depending on, like I said, like if you're by yourself like I was, just because you're trying not to freaking take a bite, just to get a snake into a bag, and then you still got to wrestle with doing the shop parts. Like, fuck.
Oh, I will say with the bad though comes the good. I love the big stuff. 100%. If you can handle it, and that means physically, financially, and responsibly handle those animals, dude. More power to you. They're amazing to work with when socialized properly at a young age. They're super fun, and they're just really rewarding. When you're I don't know. It's a hard feeling. It's a hard thing to express. Like if you've never held a 12, 14, 16-foot snake, one, do it before you ever buy one. But two, it's it's fun. It's rewarding. It's impressive. Like, I don't know.
No, there is. Well, I was telling somebody that the other day. Even with my girl, who's only maybe 7 feet, Like she's literally on her perch in her cage right now, like you guys have seen her do before, and she's just over my shoulder, like just stalking. But like just holding her, you know, as she's gotten bigger, I have enjoyed her more and more the bigger that she gets. Like it's just so much more. Yeah, there's something like even just physically, there's just an energy exchange or something.
Yeah.
Of feeling how powerful this animal is, and also just like that you can feel them breathing, you feel their heartbeat, you feel every one of their individual muscles that they use to hold on and move.
Yeah, and even when they're put down and you see those scales move, it's different. You know, when you see that on a small snake, you're like, oh, that's cool. When that's enlarged in your face, and you know, you're talking about scales the size of your thumb and stuff, like,
and they're running through your hands, and you feel the way their belly scales move.
I love it.
Like,
Dude, I geek out on
individual
it. Like, breeding's fun, but I have a lot of fun with the animals. You know, I pull out the berms any chance I get. I'm pulling them out, letting them exercise. Like, you got to have fun. It can't just be work. Otherwise, what's the fucking point?
For sure.
Like,
it was like last night. You know, I got home from work and I just. Well, my retic, it had some stuck shed, so I wanted to soak it. But I was like, the berm needs to go swimming too. So I pulled the berm out and had him in the bathtub. And it was like, you know, he was climbing up out of the bathtub, and I'd put him back. And like, we were just playing, man. And like, you know, when you can have a big and like, you know, hold his face and like, you know, be all like, it's amazing. Like, it's a great feeling.
Right.
But at the same time, you know, to go back to what you were saying, you know, I've kept reptiles my whole life, ever since I was little. And just 2 years ago, I felt comfortable enough to buy a retic. Like, I as far as like moving around and, you know, just feeling like I had enough experience to have, you know, a male retic. Like, to read animals, and you know, because there's a lot that goes into that. And like, if you're not comfortable, you know, like you said, socializing and, you know, hook training and doing all that stuff when they're young, it turns into, oh shit, I've got a 10-foot animal that nobody can go around.
Exactly. You know? And then try rehoming that animal at that point because you fucked it up.
Right. And it happens all the time.
Yeah, sadly. That's why, you know, I'm kind of picky. Like, I do breed the berms, but I don't think I'll ever do more than 2, maybe 3 pairings a year. And even that, it's, you know, it's got to be selective. Like, there's already enough, you know, albinos and stuff out there. You know, like, I proved my last girl out. I was like, okay, she's had albino. At least I made some, you know, visuals with some hets and stuff. But, like, I won't breed her again. I'm kind of sad she's gravid now from retained sperm or whatever, because... one, I can't hang out with her, which sucks, you know. My biggest snake, like, I love pulling her out. But 2, I don't want to be one of those just producing to produce. If I don't plan on holding something back really, and there's not a like high demand for it, I don't want to breed it. Like, I don't know. It took a lot for me to make the jump into breeding, and I love it. It's fun. The genetics I geek out on. I just love everything about it. But I don't want to. I don't know. I have that mindset. Don't just produce to produce. And that's why big snakes end up like that, you know? Yeah. Because people are just like, oh, well, if I can breed this big female retic, she gives me 60 eggs, you know, $150, $200 a pop. That's fucking, you know, almost 10K, whatever.
Yeah.
And then that's not the mindset.
And then people start realizing that, oh shit, I got all these babies. I need to sell them. And then suddenly their standards and practices of how they go about getting rid of those babies start to become questionable to a point that, you know, it's bad for everybody.
And that's when you see the 12-year-old boy and his dad looking at this, you know, looking at a baby retic, going, "Oh, this is pretty. This is cool." And, man, it's a great animal, you know, and not realizing that has the opportunity to get 10 foot in a year. You know, if you put a lot of food to it, like, you know, they can grow fast.
Right. It's kind of what, so I haven't like had the chance to do a lot of expos, you know, just 1 being newer and 2 just not being like out there like that at the time, at least before COVID and stuff, you know. And but the last expo we did, I thought of this good thing was I brought my green Burmese. You know, he's not huge, but he's a decent size. You know, he's pushing 10 foot now. But it's enough like where if you have berms on the table, you can be like, hey, just so you know, a year and a half, 2 years from now, he's going to be this size. and then another 2 years you can, add another third to him. So, and I thought that was like, I don't know, that was kind of my personal way of being like, hey, I'm not going to tell you no, but I'm going to make sure you're well informed of what you're getting into.
Of course.
Make sure you're set, and I've told a lot of people no. And I've had people get mad at me because they're like, what the fuck? I want to buy this snake or these pears. And I'm like, no, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. No,
personally, man, I love that.
Important.
Like, I respect the shit out of that. Like, I couldn't have more respect for somebody than doing exactly what you're saying. Because,
thank you, man.
We've all been to reptile shows, and we've all seen people that obviously shouldn't be walking out of there with the animal that they have. Whether it be experience or whether it be, you can just tell sometimes. I'm not saying about everybody. I'm not the fucking snake police. Like, I can't tell people who and what they can do, and I think that everybody should have the opportunity to do whatever they want to do. But there's situations that I know that we've all seen where, this person shouldn't have this animal. And I mean, I've seen it even on a different scale, in Louisiana and Texas down south where I'm from. And it may be the same way where you guys are from too. I don't know. But you can go to reptile shows, and I mean, they're hot. They're hot shows. Like, there's hot. And like, I've literally seen people, grabbing cobras off the table and, like, asking questions because they're not even sure what species that is, and then leaving.
Oh shit!
What I mean? Like,
Clint talked about
rhinos
that. Seeing kids leaving with gaboon vipers and stuff off tables. And,
like, I've literally seen people, like, their parents would come and pick them up in the car, after they walked out of the reptile show with a gaboon in their hand.
Oh, that's fucked.
Like, in a deli cup. Like, it's crazy, man.
That's fucked.
But again,
I don't
like
get
I said,
that,
I'm not the fucking reptile police, but I wish that people would, and it's not just reptiles, it's everything in life,
Oh, for sure.
To just, take a little bit more responsibility with your actions, because and realize that, you're not just hurting yourself and that animal, you're fucking us, like the people who are responsible keeping.
Yeah,
that's tough,
dude. That sucks, especially like because I love hots and I want them very bad. I'm trying to get the permits here in Washington, but it's pretty much impossible. And the reason laws are strict like that is because of shit exactly like that, or a lot of the free handling and people getting bit. And I get it, it's their life, do what you want, but at the same time, you are affecting the rest of the hobby and all legislation around it, like, no matter how you look at it. So I hate that shit, man. That sucks. Yeah.
And while we're on the topic of legislation and stuff, man, if you want to listen to me, if people want to listen to me about anything, support US Art, please. Like, everybody support
100%.
US Art, because they're the ones that are keeping this possible. Like, without US Art, we would not be able to do what we're doing, man. So if everybody wants to throw everything I say out the door, do it, because it's not that big of a deal. But please support US Art.
For sure.
Hell yeah.
They're gonna be more and more important every single day moving forward. There's gonna be some interesting things coming down the pipeline in the next few years. I think we're already kind of starting to see a little bit of that, and it's still just very early. So we shall see. Yep. But let's circle back around. So obviously we know you're producing ball pythons. I believe you gave one of your babies away this week already, which was exciting. But tell me a little bit about, how long you've been in balls in terms of like production. How many are you producing now? Like, kind of, I'm just trying to kind of gauge like where you're at in terms of your breeding projects.
We're going on what would be our fourth season. Really third season producing, but fourth season as far as like breeding, collecting, really getting into this. As far as like, sorry, can you repeat yourself on the last part of it? I totally got caught up there.
No, you're good. I was just saying, I'm just trying to gauge kind of like where you're at in terms of ball python breeding, like how many seasons you had, and like what's your production level, like how many snakes a year are you making, like how many clutches have you had, etc.
Derp, that was a total fucking brain fart, dude. My LED was fucking up behind, so I was like, oh, fuck. As far as production, this year I'm looking at like 12 to 15 females laying.
Okay.
We've got a lot of girls growing up, but I kind of took the long road, and just got things slowly and that I liked.
Yeah.
And, and then I made that mistake, the first year being like, oh shit, okay, I need to revamp my whole collection. Like, you end up with hella males, barely any females.
Yeah.
Just because they looked cool, and then you're like, well, they're not going to make the combos I want to make now that I've learned everything about the genes, So definitely taking the slower route. I like a lot of the light stuff. The girlfriend likes a lot of the dark stuff, so I've kind of got a mixed collection of both of that, going on. Although I will say, since we got the blackhead clutches, I'm kind of obsessed with it now. So wasn't a huge dark fan until that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was talking about this the other day. It just brings it retains that contrast, and it keeps us from slipping back into, that period where everything was just coming out kind of yellow.
Yeah. And I love that high contrast in animals. Whether it be dark and light or just like the lighter colors. Like banana is a gene that a lot of people overlook. They like it, but a lot of the like higher guys overlook it a lot. Because they're like, oh, it's played out. But I love banana combos. And, I love those oranges and purples and then you throw sugar at it or like a calico and just the whites that brings out, that contrast to me, that's what does it. I'm like, oh, yes.
See, that's what I love about calico. I mean, literally by itself, and just a normal single gene calico, to me, it's just like the fact that's real. It's crazy. Like, to me, they're almost cooler than pieds.
Oh,
the issue is they don't work as well in everything with pied. Pied makes everything cool for the most part. Calico, there's some stuff where it's like it's just so low expression that it's just like almost pointless to be there. But when it works well, man, it's
if we could have a gene that looks like sugar over pied but wax out the pattern a little bit, that would be the fucking winner. Because just the the way the whites are on a calico or sugar is just really cool. That pixelated look, I just love it.
Where it literally looks like somebody just went in with a marker and just marked out a few, up the belly. Too fucking.
So cool. I got to throw it out right now to give a sneak peek into next year's breeding projects here at Wraparound Reptile. Since you're bringing it up,
oh shit!
I've got a grand Zach Senior and Jeremy from Cure Constrictors wants her real bad. We almost made a trade. But next year, I'm going to be breeding a banana het pied male to a pastel sugar, or no, a banana het clown male to a pastel sugar het clown female. And I'm raising up the pastel sugar. So I'm looking for pastel banana sugar clown next year.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, that's insane. That's a badass.
But, man, I agree with you 100%. Like, that sugar, I love it. And with the pastel sugar girl that I'm raising up right now, like she's almost got some orange that separates, from where the white's coming up the sides, like almost, and that pixelated look, dude. I dig sugar, man. Like there's I don't think there's enough of it.
Right, and even for instance, we have what is she? A killer sugar lesser, I guess you could put it for short. So it doesn't even have any of the white on it, but what it did to that combo was insane. So I just look at that and I'm like, well, I see a lot of combos I haven't seen with sugar. If it does this to just a super pastel lesser combo, what's it going to do to, say, highway stuff or super gravel stuff and, go on from there? Like, I think it could make some cool shit.
Yeah.
Jeremy said you're not allowed to have any of the babies from his pen pied.
I totally ignored the chat over here.
No, you're good, man.
Yeah, tell Jeremy to go to bed somewhere. So, Dillon, Jeremy from Cure Constrictors down in Louisiana, he used to work with me. He and I used to work together, and that guy's been a huge supporter for Zach and I. So we always give him a bunch of shit.
Yeah, I actually followed him recently. He's got some cool shit.
Yeah.
He's a bad person, but he's got some amazing snakes.
Well,
terrible fucking guy, but his snakes are awesome.
All right,
I'm just fucking with him, but yeah.
We'll step up, man.
Right.
So
go ahead,
man. I wanna bring up your rat breeding and all that stuff because you recently gave me a lot of good information and a lot of good a lot of good tips and tricks to get my rat colonies going, and some things to do with those. So at what point did you decide to start breeding your own rats and everything?
Actually, it was really early on because local suppliers here suck. So it was probably our second year really getting into it once we hit about 15, 20 snakes, I think, at that time. I was just like, people aren't consistent, and I want consistency. I've always been one of those people. If you're going to have an animal, do it right. So I was like, well, how can we deal with this? So we sourced out, I looked up breeding them and built my own rack and started with like 9 tubs, and it's just kind of expanded from there.
Also, and how big's your rat colonies now? Like, where are you at now? Like,
we're pushing 60 colonies or so now. Still building more racks, actually, like as we speak. My goal is to add another 150 colonies by the end of the year. At that point, we will license everything and then offer publicly.
That's what I was just going to ask you next, is what was your plan, like if you were planning on overproducing?
Yep. So right now we've fed our own collection for a long time. I do sell, pretty consistently. I have a few people who pick up either every week or every other week. But other than that, we don't really sell them publicly. I made the mistake in the past where we did that. And then it was like 2 months and I'm running out. I can't keep up. And then people who counted on me can't count on me. And I don't know you, but I just hate that feeling. Even if it's not like my business, I hate that feeling. Sure. And so we kind of made the decision, okay, we're only going to supply these few people that we know we can keep up with. We can, make sure it's consistent, and then we'll slowly expand. And that's where we're at now. So yeah, we're working with like 60 something colonies ish right now, and then just kind of expanding from there. We're going to have to tear the shed down soon and build a new one, but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah. Now, did I see something about you breeding rabbits, or am I confusing you with maybe somebody else I saw?
So I started breeding rabbits too.
Okay.
I don't know if it's what you saw. I think we've posted it like twice.
Yeah. Well, it was just like one quick thing I saw, and I'm like, okay.
Yep. So we do all of our own feeders pretty much. We've got dubia colonies going. I've been working on getting some mealworm colonies going, for our insectivores. And then we do quail. My buddy Shane, who actually works with me, he keeps all the quail at his house, but we incubate and brood over here.
Keep and breed?
Super easy. It's like a chicken, but tiny and easy to care for. And then you can, you can keep the eggs and just rotate them like every 10 days or so. And then, just eat the rest or just feed them off as eggs. Like my Savannah loves quail eggs every once in a while, so just give them those.
I'm kind of like your Savannah. I kind of love quail eggs myself. So
yeah, they're pretty tasty yourself, honestly. It might take you 4 times the eggs, but they're tasty. But super easy, man. Keep them in a small hen or, pen and just feed them. Make sure you have, a bunch of females compared to your males, because they will kind of go at it a little bit. Otherwise, they're just super easy, but they're a good source of food. The monitor occasionally, and then, baby berms and stuff. A lot of people don't think in the wild, baby berms are naturally, eating birds when they're younger.
Yeah.
They don't move up to, larger mammals and stuff until they're older. So why not kind of try to mimic that? And I have this thing with offering a variety of food. I don't just stick to rats. If I can vary it from rats to quail to baby rabbits, that's a win,
Yeah. And that comes up for a couple reasons to me. Was the first one being Solaire locality dwarves, Saputrii, so Tom Belongin's those. So this girl, when she was a baby, she would not eat, and ended up she wouldn't take chickens, rabbits, like nothing.
Yeah.
But she took a live quail, and that was the only thing that she would go for. And so, but apparently, talking to Garrett and talking to Rob, apparently that's pretty common with the Saputrii. So I guess that must be the case where, or at least probably, that a lot of their diet probably is like small birds and stuff where they come from. Because for whatever reason, that's super, super common with those.
Yeah, what got me into it was the baby berms. Some of them that weren't feeding, and I'm like, man, what can I try? And then offering them, chicks, a few of them would slam those, but then I still had some picky ones. A buddy down south was breeding quail. I'm like, hey, let me get a few of those. Let's try this out. And it just so happened, slam them. It's like, you barely get the tub open. An animal that didn't want to feed for the last month is now biting your hand, you know?
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, the other side of that too was talking with some other people that are in the hobby, and what's the guy's name from Zilla that Chris Eaton just had on his last podcast? Do you guys remember? I think it's Ryan.
I missed
I
that
can't
one.
think of his name.
Either way, I'm pretty sure it's Ryan McVeigh, but he was talking about this, about how there's so much cancer coming up in so many snakes, and like younger and younger ages, and they think that it may have something to do with the rodents that we feed, because a lot of big rodent breeders especially are using lab bloodlines of rats, which were literally bred as lab rodents to genetically be like identical to one another. So they're literally like it's a GMO product. Not to like debate, GMO causes cancer and all that in humans, but it is actually a known fact that rats, like lab grade rats, commonly get cancer, like way more commonly than what they used to, and what is normal. And so you have to expect that our rodent populations have to be rampant with cancer, which in turn we're feeding to our snakes. And
to add to that, you have to think about what you're feeding the rats. I see so many people post
and that's where what they were also
of
talking
shitty
about.
dog food, and we're talking like the 10-pound, 50-pound bags kind of thing. And I'm like, you guys realize it's not that much more for Missouri, and give them some fucking vegetables every once in a while.
Supplement.
And
that's what's got me now thinking, like, man, like, I really am not in the position where I should be breeding rodents, like where I live and stuff, but like it's got me thinking about it, man, because I'm not, like, when I told Garrett, I was having that issue with the retic, we were talking about it, like cancer came up, and he's like, man, he's like, that's such a young snake. He's like, I've never in my keeping, he's like, I can't think of a retic that I had that I found out had cancer that was that young, not even 3 years old. And was eat up with cancer, dude. Like, eat up with it. That's crazy.
Yeah,
and then same thing, Brian Cusco's indigo snake. That snake was only like a few years old. And same thing, eat up with cancer. And so it does. It makes you wonder about, what the standards are and what maybe they should be shifted towards in terms of our rodent populations. And so it's got me like thinking about trying to just have like even just a small colony.
I'll say the only downside of keeping the rodents is the work to clean them.
And that's what
everything
I mean. Like,
else is a plus.
Yeah,
like,
of course, there's literally no other downside, because I see so many pictures and Instagram posts and stuff now of like people feeding, like making like all their own like rodent food, with like vegetables and like seeds and all this stuff and I'm just like, that would make me feel so good to be able to do that for the rodents, for their best care. I would enjoy that aspect of it, of like, because I think that's what I hated about like rat breeding when I was trying to do it initially, was just like I was trying to be very hands off and like it was just a weird thing. But I think that if I was doing stuff like that, first of all, it would excite me just to care for the animals. But what I was going to say is it would excite me knowing that great benefit of all of those nutrients is going straight into my production of my snake.
Oh, for sure. It's just like we gut load insects. You got to think about the same thing with what you're putting in your snake.
Yeah, because I raised my own dubia when I did have a bearded dragon.
Yeah.
Because for the same reason, I'm like, I'm not. First of all, the cost is insane. If you were going to buy and ship in dubias or go to the store and buy them every time they needed to eat, it would be nuts.
Dude, but that's what I was doing for my Savannah.
But I want to know what's going into that food, and if there's some improvement that I can see in my animal by me just, especially dubia, they're so easy. Yeah, it's like that's a no-brainer to me.
Well, and before we were breeding, I was like having to go to a couple different local guys, and what I noticed is one guy in particular who always fed the cheap, greasy dog food. Yeah, literally the rats were like oily and smelled like shit. But then I'd go to this other guy, and he was always feeding Missouri, and you could literally just see and smell the difference in a tub of rats. If it makes that big of a difference just to like our senses, what do you think, eating that is doing to their gut?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
To lighten the mood real quick for a second. Man, you feed when you feed quails, do you get the same shit problems that you do when you feed chicks when you get the explosive
Oh
shits
yeah,
coming out?
man. Yeah. It's fucking horrible. Fucking
the,
horrible.
the reason I asked that is my berm as well when it was little.
Yeah.
I couldn't get it to take anything. I tried froze, I tried live, I tried everything. And the
Yep.
Tractor Supply store had some live baby chicks. And so I got them,
100%.
and I fed off the live baby chicks, and like literally the next week he was hammering frozen thawed, rats. Like,
Yep.
I was like,
But at the same time, splattering all over that tub, huh?
had to get the food response stuff. But man, I opened the tub and I was like, what the fuck happened to this snake? Like,
right?
I'd never seen just like a spray of shit come out of my snakes before.
Yeah, you're like, I gotta wipe off the top of this rack.
Yeah,
Fuck.
yeah.
Man,
like, how'd you get it on the ceiling?
Right.
I was just wondering if that was a chicken thing or if that was all like,
Yeah, I've heard that about pigs too, though. Garrett said like they get real greasy and nasty when they start switching over to those pigs.
Oh, for sure. The thing I noticed though is it only lasts like the first month or two.
Really?
After you get past that, it goes back to normal. But then you have the problem of they get stuck on chicks a lot of the time. I've had that issue where, I've had to sit there and give them a smaller chick just to train it in with a rat. Wait until the legs are coming up on the chick and just get it in there. So that can be hard.
Train method works, man.
Oh, it does. It does. I had 2 that were super fucking picky, man. 3, but the other one was pretty easy to switch, but the other 2, man, it took me 6 months plus to get them switched over.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, the quail are good. What?
I was going to say, which brings us to another topic that you and I have discussed with the ASFs.
Yes.
Oh yes, the little assholes. Dude, they're jerks, man. We don't breed them anymore. Most of my snakes only eat really the rats, the quail, or the rabbits. So I just the ASFs, I feel like I've had snakes get picky on them in the past when I did them. They're a pain in the ass to breed. At least for me, I know people have had good experiences, man. In my experience, they're chewers. They're little rascals. No matter what you do, they fucking bite the shit out of you if you even try to get them to another tub. And, I always feel bad, like, grabbing them by the tail, like, unless I have to, we try to just pick up all our rodents and move them. So I don't know, man. They're little jerks.
Well, a couple of weeks ago, we had Kivas Feaster on from Blood Ball Pythons, and he said the exact same thing as far as them being chewers. He said you can have, you can put your ASFs in the same exact tub you put your other rats in. He said, and as soon as you turn the lights off, it's chew time, and them some bitches will be right out.
That little keyhole they have on the front of the
exactly what we were talking about.
Yeah, he knows what's up.
Literally,
we actually have a rule with that. We call chewers. If we find chewers or cannibals in any of the colonies, it doesn't matter how well that colony is producing, we call it off immediately.
Yeah.
It's kind of our rule.
And you had told me that about the cannibalism. Like, if I see cannibalism in any of my rat, you'll call them, start the colony over.
Yep. It's
and
worth that little lull in the long run.
Right.
It's worth that little lull in replacing the colony, And that goes with another thing. People don't replace their feeder rats all the time. They get them going, and I made this mistake, and we talked about it. They hit that fall off, and a lot of people don't mention that. Cycle your colonies. You can't just keep that female because she's still alive. She's a big girl. She's 2 years old. Well, yeah, but she's probably giving you 5-6 babies a litter when she should be giving you 12, 14.
Right.
You're cutting your production in half. And when we're talking about producing enough to feed a collection and multiple other people's collections, you got to cycle that shit.
Okay.
And man, that's a good point that, it's not something that you hear from everybody. And it's something that will make a huge difference in your production. Like you said, I mean, people that are personal friends to me, you and the Kivas, like y'all have both told me the same thing, but like looking at certain YouTube videos and stuff, like they don't really bring that up. And I mean, if you're talking, 6 months down the line, 7 months down the line, and you go from getting, like you said, 12 to 14 per litter, and you cut that down to 5 to 6, that's half your production. I mean, that's a lot when it comes down to, you've got, even if you have 20 colonies, and you go from producing 250 rats to 120 rats, like
that's a huge loss,
man. Like that's and if you're feeding your own animals out of that, if it's just to feed your collection, what the hell are you going to do when you get to, like, now you're going out and buying shit and you're wasting the time of breeding them.
Exactly,
just to feed your animals.
So the way I was told it was a few of the old school guys who like really helped me out when I got was trying to step up the rodent breeding and stuff, and they kind of told it to me, and and it was from a few different people, and I don't really feel bad spitting it out there, but they were kind of like secretive about it, and I'm like, why the fuck would you be secretive about that?
I was just
we all need to share this info, like, and it was the same thing when I got into breeding big snakes. Nobody wanted to share good info. That's why when people ask me questions, I will tell you everything I know, and if I don't have the answer, I probably want to know the answer. Because people shouldn't be like, how are we supposed to advance if we can't help each other? I want to see you guys succeed, and if that means breeding your own rodents, I don't want to see you fail and waste all your money at that. And then give you half-assed advice. Like,
everybody's just it's an insecurity thing, man. Everybody's always worried that if they, because I was just going to bring this topic up when you were talking about putting information out there about the rodent breeding side. Nobody have I ever found, not one fucking person. Even the people that are giving breeding info on rats, it's piecemeal. Like, you get a little piece of information from this person, and then you might get another piece of off another person's
video. And it's vague as fuck.
And it's super, super vague. It's not specific. They're not going to give you real detailed information, and it all comes down to they're so afraid that one more person getting into breeding rodents is going to take money out of their pocket or cost them something. But once again, it's just yeah, thanks, Aurora. This is my sister's cat. She's not normally allowed in this room, but I'm just kind of going with it.
I'll give you a few key points that are super easy that people don't mention enough of. With your colonies, rotate that shit. Like I said, if a female has 4, maybe you can push them up to 6 litters. And sometimes they produce just fine, and they might even produce a few litters after that are great. But I'm telling you, it's going to die off real drastic right after that. At least with 90% of animals. We've had older females that kept laying, but for the most part, 90+% of them, huge drop off. So cycle them through, and keep track of them. Even if, like, for instance, we have rows, so we'll change the tub over. Okay, that's the next month. That's the next month. That's the next month. Each time we go in there, you know what I mean? And that at that week, and they just move over. When they make it to the end of the line, they're food. They get replaced with the new ones.
Gotcha.
So cycle your shit. If you're using water bottles, just spend the fucking $40-$50 to set it up with watering system. Your headache is going to be way easier. As far as bedding, don't use pine. I see a lot of people using the unkiln dried pine. I was going
to ask about that.
Yeah, so that'll cause bumblefoot in the long run, as well as it's just bad for their respiratory issues. It causes all that sneezing and coughing and stuff, which you're going to get with rats anyway. They just kind of, make those noises. But you'll notice, like, they get this weird mucusy cough, Okay. So what we use is dried end pellets. It's a horse pellet bedding.
Yes.
Made. We just put 1 big scoop of that in there, throw 2 to 3 scoops of the gem white shavings, which is just a kiln dried wood shavings. And they're good for a week. Don't go any longer. Exhaust is key. That's something people don't point out. Exhaust is key. The ammonia buildup that rats produce is insane. It'll literally destroy your paint and everything. Exhaust.
Yeah, Marshall actually uses a grow tent in his house with an exhaust fan meant for growing plants inside.
Yep.
And he said the same thing. He's like, dude, nobody can tell that I have rodents in my house. He's like, you walk in, he's like, I ask everybody. He's like, nobody can smell a thing. It all goes right out.
Yep. And I learned all that from mistakes, man. I didn't have exhaust at all. We were just breeding them, and we had a big space, at the time when we first started. And even in that large space with a small number, after a week, you go in there, your eyes are burning. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. The first time that I had that, and I was like, there's no way. I can't it's just not feasible for me to have this in my house. First of all, the smell.
Yep.
And then second of all, like, then okay, well, to cut that down, I got to clean every 3 days. Like, this is just not.
Yeah, and then you're going through so much stuff.
And that's what I was gonna say. I started doing the numbers on, like, okay, well, that's fine. I don't mind doing double the work, but the bedding cost just doubled as well, which just starts to get out of hand quick. So.
Yep, exactly. Those are like the main things with rodents I can point out. I mean, I can go in depth if you guys have questions, but like those are the main things I've learned that really, really stepped up our production and helped me out in the long run as far as like making decisions and choosing to expand it. If it wasn't for all that stuff, I'd be like, oh, this isn't worth it. Yeah. But once you dial it in, you're like, okay, well, now they're really producing. Okay, now they're paying for themselves. Okay, now this is how much I'm making on top of whatever, if that's your, route. And don't get me wrong, it's a lot of work. You can't just jump into it. Like, it's a lot of fucking work. And it's worth it, though, in the end. If you're really willing to put in the work, it's worth it. And one thing I do love, too, is you can go and pick any feeder size you want. If you're like, oh, this hatchling's a little bit bigger, you don't just have that standard pup size, you're like, oh, let me give him a little bit bigger. He's ready for it,
And that little extra that you can give. And same thing. And that's what I keep hearing from people is it's just, they've seen their snakes are growing faster. They're more consistent in eating, like it just.
Yeah, it's a total win.
It makes it very, very hard to continue to leave that on the table, when you look at all of the benefits from start to finish. It's becoming more and more difficult for me to try to put off. So like I said, I may end up trying to set something up. Have you guys seen? You may not have. It's a specific, but Marshall Mendez, he's building a new facility on his new property, and was just showed how he built out his little mouse room or whatever he calls it, his mouse house, but it's outside and it's literally like the most simple, because I always worry about like heating and cooling, and he's in Alabama, but it gets cold down there. In North Carolina, our climate's fairly similar, but he's literally just using exhaust fans, and I think that's what Kabilka used to do too. And still does, I think, just exhaust fans, so he doesn't have to worry about like having like a mini split or anything that specific. Like you can literally get away with just exhaust fans, and you need them anyways for the ammonia, so it's like it actually seems like it's a lot easier to kind of do as long as you got the ability to run some electric.
Well, man, down here in the South, insulate. It doesn't really get just super cold. And I think because I kind of had the same shit going on. Like, I kept thinking to myself. And
you're in the middle of this,
Even Katie kept making comments. Like, as I was building the racks, like, I went and bought the wood and bought the time I was building them. She was like, well, how are we going to heat them out there? And I was like, Katie, they're not snakes. Like, we're not putting snake, these are warm-blooded. Like, how do you think that raccoon in the tree outside survives? Like, this is what they do. Like, I'm not, we're not going to leave them outside to freeze to death. Like, they're in a building, they're inside. Like,
and they produce a lot of heat themselves.
Right.
Well, that was the thing.
You got that many in a tub. You got, 5 rats in a tub, a male and 4 females. And, that they can huddle together. And they always huddle together. Like, even when it's hot. Like,
and I will say, we've had them too cold. The more concern to me is getting them too hot, because then they'll die off. You got to cool them off. But we've actually here in Washington, it's been too cold. When it's down in the 30s plus outside, and the exhaust fan is still running all the time, it cools off that room a little too much. So there is a couple times a year where we got to throw a heater in there and keep it up. But really, as long as you're above 65, you're solid and they'll produce. Otherwise, in winter, we noticed too that they dropped off like crazy, even though we're replacing colonies at that point. But it's because it was too cold, and just the draft and everything. It's not good.
So you just throw like a space heater in there?
Yeah, we just turned it on like the lowest setting possible, and it just like, luckily it kept it at 68 degrees pretty steadily, and we're like, oh well, shit, perfect.
See, we don't really have to worry about that in the South. Like Marshall was saying, because he's done a room like that before, but he was saying like with where the building was at, it was a lot about placement in the sense, so it wasn't in the shade, it got sunlight. So he's like, even if it is, 30 degrees outside, he's like, this room will be 70 because of this, just being that it's insulated, and then all the rodent heat, he's like, it'll still stay just that warm.
Oh, for sure.
Like pretty much year round. So I thought that was crazy.
No, they produce a ton of heat. Like, it actually amazes me. They'll be 10, 20 degrees warmer in there than outside, no matter what.
What's a rat's natural body temperature? Do you happen to know off the top of your head?
It's right above 100.
Right? Yeah.
Yep.
I figured it
to
was
say it's
somewhere.
like 106, 108. I might be
the
off
only
on
reason
that.
I know is because I wanted to know what temp to heat my rodents to when I'm feeding frozen thawed.
Yep.
I've still got some snakes though, man. Even if that thing says like 106, like if they want it at like 115, like they want it as hot as it can freaking get.
Right. I found too a lot of mine that were being picky on the the pre-killed or the frozen. It was the fact that it was wet. So I started drying everything off, and then they were right on it.
God,
yeah, I've got a lot of snakes that get irritated about that. Yeah,
man, I've had that.
But it doesn't get talked about
1,000 times because
people don't think about
I'll
it.
thaw snakes out, or I'll thaw rats out, and I'll have and I'll start patting them off and drying them off.
Yeah,
and Katie's like, it's a rat, and I'm like, dude, we're drying it off. Like,
those fuckers are pickier
I've had
than you
snakes
understand.
turn away and not eat it because like a drop of water fell on the snake's face when I was trying.
Yeah, or they like I've literally had them strike it and let it go. Like, ugh, what was that? What the fuck are you trying to give me? Like, it smells right, but no, that's not.
Yeah, that don't taste right.
All right. So,
oh shit.
Yeah, because I had somebody reach out to me that was having issues getting some snakes to eat that they had gotten from a breeder, and I told them, I was like, dry them off.
Yeah.
Because they were eating pre-killed before. They weren't, they were totally dry. I was like, I guarantee you it's either they're not hot enough or it's the fact that they're wet or it's both. And so they did, and they said, dude, all three, they had 3 snakes who wouldn't eat. They said all 3 of them slammed rodents first time they offered.
Damn, hell yeah.
So that was huge.
Dude, I'm scared about looking in this retic enclosure. I don't know if you can hear that stomach going off, but it is not a happy sound.
Dude, did you hear that freaking snake fart at the very end of my stream the other night? It was hilarious.
No, like, dude, I was worried about that.
I literally got you could see it on video. I got scared and I was like, "Did y'all just hear that?" And he goes, "Dude, what in the fuck?" He's like, "Did something just fall over in your room?" I was like, "No, that was a freaking snake just farted." Like, it was that loud. And I mean, that's with my headphones in, and they heard it from the snake rack 6 feet away. Shit. I was like, I guess I got a mess I got to clean up.
Dude, I always think about that when we're live. I'm like, dude, if one of these berms just like goes, I mean, you guys have both seen big snakes and been around. Like, that shit sounds gnarly.
And they might last like 40 seconds.
Yep. And then you're like, I swear that was that fucking K.
Yeah. Yeah.
So on that note of hearing cool sounds and stuff, I'm gonna segue us into our first segment of the week, which is our band or musician of the week. So Dillon, what you got? You're the guest. You go first.
Oh man, 1, good transition. But 2, man, this one's hard. I put a lot of thought to it. Okay, so I'm gonna have 2 answers if that's all right.
You can have as many as you want, man. You're the guest.
I'm not like huge, a lot of the guys know I listen to more like underground and old school rap. That's kind of just, I listen to a lot of everything, but that's my thing, right? But my buddy has a band, Sanatorium Hill. If you're into punk music or folk punk music, check him out. He's actually got some pretty cool shit. And I'll say, honestly, being a person who's not really into that genre, I like his shit. He's got, it's a lot more of a political and kind of like animal activist type of feel to it. But he's got some cool shit.
Sanatorium Hill.
Yep, Sanatorium Hill. Yep, that's right him. There. If you guys have seen ever the buddy Shane who helps me in the snake room, that's his band.
Okay.
So
cool.
I wouldn't feel right not mentioning that because he's fucking awesome, good people, and he's in the community. He's slowly building a collection of his own. But as far as like what I've really been jamming to, at least the last week, oddly, I've been listening to a lot of Jelly Roll. I don't know if you guys have ever heard him, but
yeah, somebody else was just talking about that. Who was it?
I can't remember, but somebody I read it somewhere.
It was somebody in the comments. Man. It was somebody in the comments of one of our lives. It just came up. That's so weird.
Oh shit, that's funny. I've been liking it, man. I listen to a lot of like strange music and stuff,
Sure.
And so he just kind of fits in with that. He has some songs that are, a little more, hate to say country, but it's almost country-ish kind of feel, being rap still. But I just like it, man. I dig it.
Yeah, okay. That's what it's all about. And we'll definitely put a link to your buddy's stuff in this video in the description. Once it posts as a video, we'll throw a link in there.
Oh, for sure. That'd be cool, man. I know he'd appreciate it.
You know, like anytime we can. Yeah, I mean, and not that we have some huge following or anything, but as long as like I always want to promote anybody that's doing their own music and stuff like that. Because
no, that's awesome, man.
I'm a musician, and like music's I love music, and it's been between music and reptiles. Like that's like my catharsis. You know, those are the things that get me through the shitty times in life.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
You know, definitely want to support everybody that's doing that.
No, thank you, man. That's awesome. He's been putting a lot of work into the shit, and I'm like you. I got to have music. Like if I don't have something on, I'm playing music. You know?
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure. Zach, who you got this week?
I'm gonna go with Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats. So they've got a song. I didn't think about this when I was deciding on who it was going to be for this week, but they've actually got a song. So for those that don't know, I'm doing dry January, so I'm like 29 days or something like that in now, I guess, or 28 days, something like that. They got a song called "Son of a Bitch." It's SOB, I think is what it actually is, but it's "Son of a Bitch, Give Me a Drink" is like the main line. And it's like this real happy, upbeat, like you think it's like this great, like, oh, like this jam about drinking, until you start actually listening to the lyrics, and it's like a really depressing song about this dude who's an alcoholic and like just can't let it go, like, you know, like just one more night, you know, like kind of crazy shit. But it's just a really good fucking song. But they're a great band. Like they're kind of country, but you know, I don't know. Like you got to check them out if you haven't heard of them. They're fucking great.
I'm not gonna lie, I have a hard time with country, but I'll check it out.
Yeah, well, and that's why I say, like, I'm not gonna call them country. Like, it's almost like a southern rock. I don't know. I wouldn't say southern rock because that sounds bad too. But they're good.
No, I'm gonna have to listen to that. That sounds funny.
Yeah, that song's great. And they got great music videos. Like that goes a long way with me. So yeah, I think you'll appreciate them if you like kind of weird off the wall stuff. What you got, Bradley?
All right, so everybody knows I'm a huge metalhead, but this week I've actually been listening to something a lot different, and it's something that I grew up with, and it's quite possibly my favorite hip-hop group ever, and I've been rocking Bone Thugs and Harmony all week, man.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Like, I'm going to throw it out there, and people can give me shit if they want to, but I think that East 1999 Eternal is the top 5 greatest rap album of all time. Like, it's somewhere in the top 5. Like, I can put that album on and never hit skip. Like, I can listen to every fucking song on it, and they all catch me a different way. But like, I never have to. Like, Bone Thugs and Harmony is the shit, and I've just been rocking them all week. And like I've had this in my mind all week that I wanted to bring this up on this show because
I'm glad that you have those moments too.
I forgot about them. Like,
right? Yeah. I'll be listening to something at work and I'm like, "This is my shit for the week." Like this, I'm so excited. I can't wait to talk about it.
Right?
Yeah.
Just have that moment where it clicks. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. I fucking love Bone Thugs.
I was just talking to somebody today at work about he had just introduced his son to Rage Against the Machine for the first time.
Oh shit!
And I was like, dude, I remember my older brother. I remember like exactly where we were, what car we were driving in the first time I was flipping through his CD book and I pulled out Rage Against the Machine and played it for the first time. And he was like the one that introduced me to that. So like in the same day, he introduced me to like Rage Against the Machine, Bone Thugs and Harmony. I can't make that shit up because it was like literally same day, like one CD after the other. And then it was like Limp Bizkit and Korn. I went home and I was ruined. I was ruined for life. I was in like fifth or sixth grade. I was done.
Oh, damn. Yep.
My mom has never, my mom would say my life's never been the same since. I was a pain in the ass after that.
Oh, shit.
So, that's funny that you brought them up.
Dude, you know who's a good old school one that I actually just like, it came across, I used to listen to it all the time growing up, but it just came across, was Immortal Technique. Have you guys ever heard of him?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah. That just popped up like I think it was yesterday. It popped up on my shit, and I was like, oh shit, I totally forgot about this dude.
Right.
Well, that's like crazy. I made a kid at work the other day listen to Illmatic. Like he had never heard Illmatic from Nas, and like I made him. I was like, dude, you have to listen. This might quite possibly be the greatest hip hop album of all time. Like, Nas is the shit. But
too funny.
So we just implemented it last week, and so we started movie of the week, and it can be any movie, past, present, future, or it can be a TV show, whatever you've been, or hell, if you haven't seen it in 30 years, that doesn't matter either. Just something you think people should go watch.
All right, Firefly.
Ooh, nice.
And why the fuck didn't they make a second season?
I know, and then they like it's like the internet's just trying to keep the idea alive. People keep having all these theories, like, oh, it's some so and so mentioned that this happened and that this might, right? And that might mean that they're going to bring it back. Like maybe Netflix is going to revive it, or
I get excited every time would make sense. Let down.
Yeah, much disappointment.
I actually don't really watch much TV or movies like at all. I've never really been a TV person. If I'm not in the snake room or at work, I'm usually up in the mountains or out fishing or something. I'm just kind of that way. But I really like Firefly, and y'all are going to make fun of me for this, but I don't even give a fuck, right? So this week, when I've had a little bit of free time, I've been rewatching. Have you guys ever seen the old TV show Charmed?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've been rewatching that shit with the girlfriend.
Dude, that's totally fine. Totally perfectly acceptable. Because like once in a while, you got to go back and rewatch Buffy or like Angel. Yep. All that shit was good as fuck. It was on the WB back then. Come on,
Blade.
The '90s, man. The '90s is where it was at.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah, all that shit's still golden. I'm good with that.
Yeah, I'm kind of a nerd like that if I do watch it.
All right, so I'm gonna go. I was trying to kind of think through like what I've been watching. So you guys know I like a lot of anime and stuff. I started and finished Demon Slayer in like 2 or 3 days. It's I think like 26 episodes. So the fact that I started and finished it pretty quickly, like it was really good. It was really good. It's only one season, which I hate stuff like that. It gives me anxiety. Like I think I actually got to like episode 21 out of 26, and I was like, I should just stop watching this now because like I'm just gonna be disappointed that I can't watch more of it,
Yeah.
So I get like anxious about that shit. But it's just a really good show. If anybody's into anime or not into anime and just kind of want to maybe see what it's all about, I think it's a pretty good one.
Sweet.
All right. So I'm gonna go with a movie that I've seen about 1,000 times, and 900 of those times were before I was 10 years old. And I'll be completely impressed if either one of you know what this movie is when I tell you. But when I was a kid, I watched the movie Rad over and over and over. And it's an 80s movie about BMX racing and doing like old school bicycle tricks, like flatland Miami hoppers and dude, it's the cheesiest, corniest B movie you'll ever see, but it has so much nostalgia wrapped up in it to me. Like it's like it's part of my heart. It's part of me. That it's something that makes me me. And it's a shitty movie. Like most people watch it and they'll be like, "This is terrible," but man, check out Rat. It's got Lori Loughlin before she ever.
I just looked at it.
I'm gonna check that out.
I've seen like memes about it on the internet, and like I think I've seen like the preview or something maybe before, or I might have even maybe turned it on and started to watch it because I remember it being on like a Netflix, or maybe it was like free on Prime or something. Like I definitely have seen at least a piece of it, but I've not watched the whole thing. But I am aware of it.
Yeah, it's been on my list to get the like the logo of the movie tattooed on me, somewhere. And
you got me curious. I had to look up the thumbnail. I have seen that thumbnail before, but I can't recall it. I'm gonna have to rewatch it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's definitely something about it where I feel like I've seen part of it or something, but I know for a fact I've seen memes about it.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna rewatch that.
And John Farnham did the whole soundtrack, and like, I feel like if that shit doesn't get you pumped up, you're just not fucking American. It's like Robin Trooper and No Easy Way Out from like Rocky 3 or 4. You know, you hear that shit and you're not all pumped up. Like, you're just not American. I mean, this motherfucker single-handedly ended the Cold War.
Yeah, no, the 80s were another just a different time, man. It seems like when you look back
for
on
sure.
it.
I also saw a
Crazy.
thing today that somebody posted on Facebook that Disney Plus is fixing to put out a series of the Mighty Ducks, like, and they're bringing like
What?
Emilio Estevez and
Dude.
shit back, and it's gonna
They
be
fucking
brand
better.
new. Yeah, it's gonna be like brand new kids and like a whole new story, and like they're bringing
Dude, that
back
was
the
my
fucking
shit when I
Mighty
was a
Ducks.
kid.
Yeah,
I love the fucking
yeah.
Mighty Ducks. Fuck
Dude,
them.
I love the
Damn, that
Mighty
should have been my
Ducks.
movie this week.
I love the Mighty Ducks so much, and I'm about to let y'all in some inside shit. It's just because Dillon's here, and like Dillon's awesome. So, my guilty pleasure show that I've watched from fucking first episode to series finale probably 20 times, Dawson's fucking Creek, and the reason is because Joshua Jackson was in fucking Mighty Ducks, and I wanted to watch everything that Joshua Jackson.
Dude, that's awesome.
That's fucking great. Well, shit. Let's talk about this. So, Dillon, if you're still thinking about it, let's maybe roll into this giveaway that you were talking about with me. You want to kind of
I was just waiting until you wanted to go.
Yeah. Let's roll with it now, man. I think we've kind of weeded out the people that were just here to like not really committed to what we have going on, you know. So.
Yep.
I know a few of the people that are not here anymore, so I hope they see this later and feel bad.
So I want to do two. Let's start off with the first one, and then we can go into the second one. Does that work?
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I think we'll do it the same as the last one. So before you announce, like, the way this is going to work, Nebraska. So the way we did it last time, rather than pick like a number or whatever, 1 through 50, I'll think of a random state out of all the 50 states, and you guys will have to guess the state that I'm thinking of. What I'll do is I'll pick a state. I'll message Bradley on Instagram so that he can see it. Or never mind, I'll message Dillon since Bradley, you're using your phone to stream. I'll message Dillon the state so that he can verify, and then whoever guesses the state first is going to get the animal. All right. So that's the way that's going to work. Let's have Dillon kind of let us know what he's giving away, what you guys are going to win, which is exciting.
All right. So let's start off. It's going to be a male, red gene, 66% pos het hypo. If you're not familiar with the red gene, well, you should look into it because it's fucking cool. And the only thing I ask is that you cover shipping. Otherwise, I'll send it out next week if temps are right. Be at your door. And then if you're under 18, obviously I want to make sure your parents cool with it and you're all set. Other than that, I just want to give back, man. So shoot for it.
All right, guys, so I'm going to message Dillon really quick. Let me kind of think of a state that I didn't already use.
Nebraska.
Not Nebraska again. We've already done Nebraska.
I just had to fuck with you a little bit.
All right. And don't guess, guys, until what I'll do is I'm going to go down in the chat and actually say, like, go or whatever, or start guessing. And that way I can visibly look and see who gets it first. So, Dillon, I'm going to message you right now the state and just verify that for me that you have it.
Got it.
All right, that's just so that I can't lie about who gets this right.
This should be fun.
I feel like Alex Trebek should be standing. Oh, rest in peace.
Doom. I want the freaking music.
I love doing this though too, like as kind of like a surprise thing, because I just did that one giveaway and that was so stressful. Like I always want to give back, but I'm like, man, I'd rather do it to the people who are already here supporting you guys and friends and shit. Like,
all right, we got a winner.
Oh, yep.
All right, do you see it was
winner?
So I saw Game of Morphs has it first.
Yep.
Who won?
Game of Morphs.
That's actually
Game of Morphs.
Actually, I know him. That's Josh, and he lives in Oregon.
Oh, perfect.
Perfect.
That's great.
That's even
and just
better.
so, hold on, where's that?
Yeah, Jamie, you can technically guess. There's not really anything I can do to stop you. So, yep. Sorry,
Yep.
Jamie. I guess
congrats,
we probably should have
Josh.
clarified that you can guess as many times as you want until somebody gets it. Strong. That's awesome. Hell yeah.
Yeah, sweet, easy. And
yeah, no, I loved that, man. Like giving away like in the middle of a stream because it's like, as much as I understand the idea of giveaways, when people are doing them is like, well, it's going to help me to grow because it's like, oh, we'll follow for follow and do these steps and this and that, which is fine to an extent. I understand that it's important to do that, but I love this part. I love this type of giveaway more than anything because it's just like, You just get to give it. You basically know you're going to end up giving it to like one of your friends or one of our friends. You know, like that type
somebody.
Crew.
And I just want to say, like, it's cool as fuck, man, because these people that are still here at this point, an hour and 20 minutes into this, are the people that are here every single week, and the people that show me and Zach a ton of support. And a lot of times it's you, man, that's in there, you know. Like, you know, and to what you're doing just for our community, man. Like, fucking, I'm gonna tell you thank you, and that it's amazing. You know,
man.
It's great, man.
Dude, it's my pleasure. I don't have to worry about running a giveaway. I get the follower for follower thing. That's cool, right? But I want to, if you want to follow me, that's cool. Like, but I want you to like my shit, not follow me for a free animal, you know?
Exactly.
And so, you know, but leading into that, I want to do a second giveaway. This one's going to be a little bit different. It's not a live animal. $250 credit for any animal I have available. If that animal's $250, there you go. It's covered. Cover shipping. But just $250 credit. It'll be valid if I don't have something you like right now. It doesn't fit into your collection. I totally get that. Let's do it until 2023. So that's another two seasons, 2.5 seasons. You have that. Whoa. You know, maybe I have a pairing coming up that you want an animal, but it's a little out of your price range. Well, there's $250 credit. Anybody who knows me knows I'm a man of my word. We'll enter it in. I'll have it written down.
That's huge, guys. Like that's huge.
Now I want to ask
because 2 more years.
Because this is just a question that popped into my head. So if and when you guys start with your rodent stuff, can they use that credit towards some frozen rodents when you guys get to that point? If
you want to wait for that point, I'm not sure when we'll be shipping. Just to be honest.
Yeah. So
but
that might be
if it's
a
still
year
there,
or 2 years out. But
I don't see
or
why
if you
not.
end up being close by.
Yeah.
All right, just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
Shameless plug for your future rodent business.
I'm okay with that. I'll be straight up. The rodents are a ways out before we offer them publicly. But
Bradley, oh yeah, you're still on your phone. I was gonna say, do you want to?
No, I got it. I got it. I can send you a message, Zach, from Katie's Facebook.
Okay. Yeah, just pick a random state and just message me what it is.
Yeah. Katie, give me your phone real quick. Never mind, it's right here.
I've already done 3 of these, and like I only know like 10 states. So.
Oh, dude, I know the states and the capitals, baby. States and capitals.
Dude, I had to memorize all that shit when I was in.
I could never get that.
We should do a state capital and make it even harder.
Ooh.
I mean, this is 3 years.
One day we'll get to that point where we have to, because we'll have like 400 people in the stream. Like, name a city, a city and state.
I want a county.
Verify that they're all real.
All right, I'm about to send it to you right now, Zach.
What am I getting what the fucked about?
All right, it's sent.
Well, I ain't got it yet.
Speaking of that, while you guys run this, I can go grab that snake that we just gave away.
Oh, yeah, let's
Josh
do that.
One, if you want to see it.
Yes. All right, I got my state.
All right, you got it?
My state.
All right.
Yeah, we're going to wait until Dillon gets that snake so he can show what he just gave away. I love the red gene stuff, man. I think there's a lot still to be done about that one in terms of like it using it as an enhancer. It's pretty cool.
So I really hope this picks up on camera, because it's really hard to ID straight red genes, but
I think that's
blushing on the red genes. You know, it's kind of a even pattern. They have a darker head.
Yeah.
If I can get them to. So red gene, 66% poshet hypo. Hypos were produced snake. In this clutch. So.
Yeah, I like even just the pattern on that thing looks neat.
Yeah, and the interactions, we were kind of talking about it. I just really got impressed. You usually only see red gene with blackhead. Mm-hmm. You know, you see the blackhead red gene or blackhead red gene, ringer gene. But when I saw it separate from blackhead is when it really stood out to me.
Yeah.
A simple pastel red gene, amazed the fuck out of me. It was
Yeah,
highlighter
we were
yellow.
talking about that. Yeah,
know?
I told you in our chat we were talking about that it looks a lot like Desert Ghost almost to me when you add pastel. I mean, it's beautiful.
So it's just a cool enhancer. I
is.
think people could build on it separately from Blackhead, and it could really do some shit, but you just don't see it.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
See, this
so
is great,
game of
man.
morphs. You know, that's your animal. You know, like that's
so
awesome.
That's so funny.
Yep.
Yeah, because so Mindy got a clutch mate to that snake from him on the previous giveaway.
No,
and both of them are saying how they've both been looking at him on Morph Market anyway.
No,
so it's
you know
like,
what's even
that
fucking
couldn't have worked out
crazier?
better.
They both have the same pair now. Oddly, I'm honestly, I was kind of waiting to bring it up until we did, the next one.
Oh no shit.
Mindy.
So they both literally have the same animals from you.
Yes.
But they both, in other words, had already previously purchased.
They both purchased an animal from me previously, and then they both just got a perfect pair to pair with said animal.
See, man, that's freaking
That's
crazy.
the shit, man. That's awesome.
So that's actually a really cool coincidence, and I'm excited for you guys.
These giveaways have been super weird.
Project.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That couldn't have worked out any better. Because like the other, so when Kayla won Marvel Balls UK,
yep,
her guess was Nebraska. Why I picked Nebraska as the state, I don't even know. Like I couldn't tell you, but she picked Nebraska. And then so we're like, I don't really know how that's going to work out because like the shipping's going to be expensive. So I'm like, okay, well, like if she wants to cover it though, like Dylan, maybe you guys can work something out.
Yeah.
And or no, this was Bridget's.
Yeah.
This was Bridget's snake. But same thing, as it turns out, she goes, oh no, everything's cool. She's like, the snake's actually getting shipped to Nebraska. And who's the snake going to? But who is it? Is it Joe that lives out there, or is it Anna? Either way, like another one of our friends from Cusco's Discord group is going to be the one that's actually taking the animals. It's just like just weird. Weird how it all works out. So,
that's awesome. And Josh, I love your comment.
Yeah. All right, let me get my state again. All right, so I've got my state for the next one. So again, if you guys, Anna. Okay, I didn't think I can't remember what state.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, no worries, dude. All right, so I'm gonna wait for Dylan to come back before I start telling you guys. Right, Aurora, connected by creatures, exactly. Like it's so weird how this all of this stuff has gone. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's too badass. Like I couldn't be happier with everything that's going on right now.
This is just weird, like I said, and we're doing it based on states too. So it's not even like numbers guessing. It's just I don't know. Just the odds of this stuff is real strange. All right, guys. So let's get ready. I'm gonna go ahead and post it in the chat. And the first person that I see guess the right state.
Yeah, here we go. We're gonna guess a state. We got a state. Everybody got a state.
I don't even know when someone wins. I'm kind of excited to see.
Right? Yeah, I've got the live comments up so I can see like as you guys are typing. Still nobody. We're still going.
Keep guessing, guys. Multiple guesses.
Good luck, guys.
Yeah, to clarify, like. All right, we got somebody. We got a winner.
Oh, who is it?
And it's the only person, so I don't have to ask who we saw first. So Jamie.
Sweet.
Jamie Cadile.
Jamie Cadile.
Hit me up, Jamie. Congratulations.
That's awesome. And speaking of, she and Chris are going to be the guests on my next live on Wednesday. So that's freaking great.
Oh, sweet.
So once again, just like, I love this, dude. This is awesome.
Well, that's even better. Now at least I know it's
this
going to a good
people.
home.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. You guys just hit me up, Jamie. We'll work it out.
Yeah, I was gonna say this one's like especially exciting because they've got a lot of stuff going on over there already. So like maybe you guys can kind of collaborate together on what you've got that might work well for her. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hit me up, and like I said, it lasts a while. I mean, if there's something we don't have available, just we'll work it out. Maybe I got some future pairings. You want something, whatever.
Yeah, Jamie, make sure you ask him about all of his breeding plans for the next 2 years. You want a full list. Yeah, I was gonna say I want to know all the secret stuff as payment. That's great, man. That's a blast. I love this shit.
Thank you again, Dillon. Thank you for doing that here. Thank you for the people that watch us, man, and support us, and for you giving back. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna ask one thing of everybody in the chat though. If you haven't hit that fucking subscribe button to these guys' channel, you need to right now.
Thank you so much, brother. I
'Cause-
appreciate that.
You know, that's why I wanted to come on here and do it. I like your guys' channel. I've been paying attention to the streams. I feel bad I missed the one. I did go back and watch it though, with Kivas. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
You know, that was a good one.
Yeah, he's a good dude, man.
You know, so just show these guys some love, man. That's all.
Thanks a ton, Dillon. We really do appreciate it, man. Everybody's support has meant a lot to us.
We're gonna wrap this on back around to reptiles and
Let's
get
do
to
it.
our final segment. And I talked to Dillon earlier in the week to find out what our reptile of the week is. And coming from Dillon, surprise, our reptile of the week is Burmese pythons. So drop some knowledge about your Burmese pythons, Dillon. Let us know. Why is that the reptile of the week every week?
Well, I mean, they're only the best animal on the fucking planet. Easy answer. Okay, so for real, guys, you all know I have if you don't know, I have a deep love for Burmese pythons. They are my favorite species on the planet. You know, sure, there's tons of cool species, but Burmese pythons are just an amazing animal to work with. You know, I love them for a number of reasons. One, I like big animals. Big animals and big snakes. Well, I've kept almost all of the big snakes, and you can't ask for a better big snake than a Burm. Sorry about your retics, guys. I love retics too, but you know, as far as just disposition and you know, just general maintenance, they get sizable. They're not going to get huge. They do get big, you know, or huge in some people's eyes, but they're not going to get quite as big as a mainland retic. They have a better disposition than, say, a green Annie or even a yellow Annie, slightly smaller species. But I just think they're a really awesome species to work with. And a lot of people, when they look at Burmese pythons, all they think about is the problem in the Everglades, right? But a lot of people don't realize that they're actually federally protected where they're from, and they're having issues as far as populations of Burmese pythons in the wild where they're from. So it's just a species I feel like it got overlooked a lot. It's really fun. There's some really cool genes involved with it. You know, thankfully we've had some new genes coming into the States or show up. Whatever happened, they're here. So thankfully for that, you know, I'll say that. I actually have a pair of F3 Posset caramels, which is big for Burms. As far as getting a generation that hasn't been bred consistently from, you know, before the Lacey Act, and we're talking generations in at this point for most mutations, getting new stock in that is huge. So, you know, I really love the species, man. I just think they're amazing. As far as the big snakes go, like I said, and just they get overlooked a lot, I guess, you know. And I like the fact that there's still a lot to do with Burmese pythons genetically. There's still a lot to do. There's a lot of genes we don't even have in the country, unless they magically appear.
Right.
And on top of that, you know, just the few genes we do have incorporated with the new genes, there's still a lot to do genetically with Burmese pythons. Yeah. Another project I'm working on with the Burmese is the Enigma line, originally produced by my friend Jackie at Cold Hearted Exotics. She's proven familial inheritance of paradox in Burmese pythons. That's almost unheard of in any other species except for Kenyan sand boas, I know, have paradox proven. But Jackie has proven through multiple lines the familial inheritance. It doesn't work like a gene, so this goes back to my line breeding projects. It's not all about just the genes. I want to line breed for that quality. And as far as Burmese, I'm really impressed with her Enigma line stuff. I have one animal already here, my girl Piglet. I have the second animal that'll be here hopefully soon, and it's the craziest example of the Enigma line paradox ever produced. I'm amazed she let me buy it off of her.
Those are always fun animals to have. The ones where you're like, why would they even sell that to me?
She's a one of a kind. You're not going to find another Burm like her. not with proven familial inheritance like her. Unless she produces another one down the line, or I eventually hopefully can line breed it. But imagine getting those paradox splotches right into some of the other genes like caramel lab and stuff like that, which is already an insane, very minimally produced combo, but now add
even find
a proven enigma line.
Yeah, I'm trying to even find pictures and I can't really see anything.
So if you check out her Instagram, Cold Hearted Exotics, she's got a lot posted about it.
Made the most sense.
She doesn't really do YouTube that much, but she's got some crazy stuff, and she's proven it through multiple pairings, through multiple clutches. And
that's amazing, man.
It's just small stuff like that that makes me really excited about Burmese pythons in the future of them.
Yeah. And I agree with you, man. They get overlooked so much. I mean, I don't really know hardly anyone that talks about berms like at all. And I almost do. I think that, a lot of it is because of just kind of that they have like a negativity, a negative connotation that they carry with them now because of what goes on in the Everglades. So it's like,
you see that,
like, well, even if I keep them or I love them, let's not
lazy,
talk about it.
Which is complete bull. I'm telling you right now, I have 10 plus berms, and then not including babies, that we've produced. Like last year's clutch was 42. So if you can think about that, I'm working with 50 plus berms at that time,
Yeah.
Like they are very active species. Yeah. You don't just put them in an 8-foot. Like they're chill. They're, they do like to just coil and they're happy in an 8-foot, but you got to pull those snakes out and let them exercise. They may not want to climb like a retic, but they want to move around and they want to explore. And like anytime I'm in here cleaning, the first thing I notice, even before my monitor in the rhino iguana and stuff sometimes, is my berms are popping up looking at me like, hell, hey, what are we doing? Are you going to let us out? Are we going to come hang out? Like, I love that. I love that. That's so really they're not the lazy slugs people make them out to be. They're a really cool species.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the reason that berms have been overlooked for a while is because, like you said, the Lacey Act.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe a lot of breeders and a lot of people that are in the spotlight kind of pushed berms to the side for a while.
Yep.
Because they couldn't transport them across state lines and they couldn't do these things. So the profit in them kind of went away. And when the profit went away, people's thoughts about them went away. I personally think that berms are awesome because I think that they're probably the best big snake for the average keeper. Like, I think that
I could see that just behaviorally.
100%. I think that anacondas are not going to be your best pet just because your habitat, your husbandry is going to be a motherfucker to do it right. They're inconsistent in their behavior. I mean, they can be as calm, cool, and collected as can be and just have a weird, lash out of nowhere. I don't think we've already had the conversation about retics earlier. I don't think retics are the best for the average keeper strictly because not only size, but also the intelligence, the ability for them to find and remember, a way out of their cage, for the way that they associate with different people. Like,
not to mention, if you get one that's kind of scary that you don't want to work with, that's not a good situation. You can
here's the thing too. Like berms will remember that. I've had asshole berms. I'm not saying they don't exist, right? Sure. And they'll push. They'll learn to get out of their cage and all that. And you can see them thinking. But unlike retics during breeding season, they don't have those crazy mood swings.
Bites.
They're not going to buck you and flash bite and shit out of nowhere. You can read the disposition of a berm fairly easily. 100%. And I'm not saying it's impossible, but I would trust a berm 9 times out of 10 over a retic that I'm going to question if its head starts slithering up towards my neck. I'm going to get uncomfortable.
Right. Yeah, because I've seen it where
14-foot berm and not think about it.
Yeah. They go from 0 to 100 really quick if they want to.
And
exactly.
They can seem inquisitive and then bite you right in the cheek.
And I know, Dillon, you have way more experience with berms than I do, but in my experience, berms are a little bit more talkative. You might get that long breath, that long hiss when you're first messing with them, but once you don't see that change in mood real quick. Like, you know, you can have a weird movement and like a retic will have just a change in his attitude real quick.
Shit, your phone vibrates and they're on it. Like,
yeah.
You know?
You know, I love that big and then okay, fuck it, let's play.
All right, No, they're talkative as shit, which throws a lot of people off. They think they're jerks, and I find it cute at this point because even my biggest berms will hiss, and then, you know, I'll pull them out and they're totally chill. You know, but I love it. I think it's funny. They're talkative as hell, but it's all bark, at least most of the time. Yeah,
man. I think, like I said earlier, I think that berms are the best big snake for your average keeper. You know, I think that, and I honestly think that a lot of people get into reptiles and they wind up with a shitload of snakes that they really didn't want because they wanted that big snake. They wanted that, you know, whatever you want to call it. And I think a berm is the best snake to fill that void for people.
Yep.
You know, because I know people personally who might have 32, 35 ball pythons, but they really just are buying shit because they really wanted this one snake. And, you know, I think a berm is the best snake to fill that void for people. And I think boas are good too, but I've got my own issues with boas. But like, I think as far as big snakes, man, berms are the best big snakes for people to keep.
Hell yeah.
Zach,
what's
you
that
have any
retic doing over there?
It's plotting to kill Zach.
Sizing him up.
Zach, you got any final thoughts?
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, no, she's thinking about coming out, I guess. But yeah, it's I guess because like she's got the light on her normally when I'm streaming, and then I'm literally like right here at the glass, dude. Like you should have seen her when I grabbed the keys to unlock because my hand's right there at the glass. She perks up immediately and hones in like, oh, or is it feeding time? You know, like that's normally what she thinks.
Yeah.
Because you can see right now, she's like, she's not wanting to come out. She's wanting to eat. Like she's got the fast tongue flicks. Like she's in hunting mode, and she's been perched all day. Which, you know, normally if she's like, did you see how quick she just moved her head?
She's thinking.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean,
that's
100%.
Awesome. Like, I had some more retics in the past, and now I downsized to just the one I have now. And I will say I love them. Like, they're great animals. I just, you know, at least being like a fan of mainlands, I don't feel responsible breeding them, you know, or like not responsible, but I don't want to be responsible for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, you know, if it wasn't for her genetics and then just the relationships that I've built, like with people like Garrett and you know, people that can help me to make sure that, you know, the size, because these are not like, well, her babies are still not going to be like super dwarf. They're not going to be some 7 foot max snake. I mean, she herself might get 13 feet by the time it's all said and done. Now her babies will probably max out around 10, but that's still a good sized snake. So, you know,
for sure.
Know, again, just going back to it, you know, that's why I'm doing everything that I'm doing in terms of marketing myself and all that. So that way I've got the right customer base for those animals, you know, the right homes for them to go to when they do come.
Oh no, dude, that's awesome. And don't get me wrong, I don't even have a problem with people breeding mainlands. The only thing I ever like hate on is when people are just producing clutch after clutch after clutch, and you're like, bro.
Yeah, if you've got 100 clutches of retics or you know, like mainlands or 100 clutches of berms coming every year, I mean, I'm sorry, I think you're doing things the wrong way.
I mean, more power to you. Keep 100, but don't breed 100.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, because there's just not that many homes for them. You know,
no,
just not
quality homes.
Yep, exactly.
Right,
quality homes.
Precisely. That are because that's the other thing. You know, is it's like the pressure for people to start changing their husbandry becomes even more unsurmountable, because it's like if you've got all these people that are keeping 25, 30 huge mainland retics in, you know, an 8 foot enclosure and they never come out, you know, it's like that person, even if they wanted to change their mind, it's going to be like cost prohibitive, and then they're going to think, oh, well, if I want to start doing that, I'm going to have to get rid of my snake. So it makes them even more likely to convince themselves that the way they're doing things is fine.
Yep.
You know?
That's why I'm one of those, you guys have seen me promote it. I even mentioned it earlier. Take them big snakes out, man. Let them.
Yeah, and you'll enjoy them. You'll enjoy them more that way too. Not just what they're gonna get, but like, every time I take that girl out, man, it's just there's just something like enjoyable. There's just something like, it just calms me to have a big snake like that, or that you're holding and working with and letting her. Even just silly things like I think of it the same as like taking my dog for a walk. Like, I love to watch my dog just be happy and like enjoy smelling things and interacting with stuff. It's the same thing with her. Like, when she's out, I'm like, I love watching her think and watching her hone in on different things. And like, I love that there's a box right there that's got rodent bedding in it from a live rat that I had this week. And I love that she's like honed right in on that.
Going in there, sniffing
really
it.
Curious. Exactly. Like, cause that's literally what she's looking at right now. Like, and she I love that shit. That's what should be all about, man. Cause
Zach,
I used to do this with her when she was in a tub, where she would just literally sit. You guys can't see, but she's literally just got her chin rested on the edge of her cage just outside. And she'll just hang out like that for hours. What were you going to say, Bradley? I'm sorry, but
I was going to say, since you've got control of the chat tonight, you want to see if anybody's got any final questions for Dillon?
Yes, absolutely, please. And we will wrap this thing all up.
I was just reading Corey's question.
Yeah, if you want to dive into that.
Corey, really, you need vet's experience with that. If you want to shoot me a personal message, I'll be happy to help you find a vet or guide you in the right direction. Yeah. But nobody here can really give you a diagnosis on that.
Yeah, especially if it's been there for that long. If it was something that just happened overnight, I would say it could be like just literally urate that's just needs to be soaked or whatever. But if it's a lump like that and it's been there for a month and it's not hard, yeah, it could be something really minor, or it could be something like cancer. I mean, like, not to freak you out, but it's just so that literally, like, that outside of taking it to a vet, there's not really anything that we can help you with, unfortunately.
I would definitely recommend a vet.
Yep.
Especially if it's not hard, because if it was hard, then like, okay, like, it's infection or it can be impaction. But if it's a soft, like, squishy mass, that can be something really bad too.
Yeah, I mean. And don't think the worst, Corey. Take it in. It could just be a fluid pocket. I've had that in snakes, unfortunately, before too, where they just get a buildup of fluid right there. You drain it, and sometimes it'll come back, but other times you'll never have to deal with it again. You just drain it, and you're done.
Yeah. I've also had,
like I say, it's hard to say.
Just little lumps, like right on the necks of snakes that'll like go away. Like, whatever.
But especially down by the vent, anything like that.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not saying it's like something terrible, but it's definitely like an immediate vet trip for sure.
Yeah, I mean, but if anybody has questions, I'm all for it. Or if
in terms of anything that he's got going on with Berms, because Dillon's got a ton of knowledge, and I feel like we kind of we always have this problem where it's like we barely scratch the surface on some stuff. And I think that at the end of the day, like, kind of while we wait on some questions to come in, if there are any, like, that's really like what I love about this stuff is just like, even though Dillon is largely in with a lot of the same people that we are, like, I hope that there are people that will see this after the fact and will go check out his stuff, because man, you're one of the people in the hobby that Bradley and I, like, our first comment was like, this dude's doing things bigger than what, like, I think people recognize. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have, I think, the following that I think that your level of knowledge, kind of
and man
would support.
I
if
always
that
get
sense.
A good energy.
I appreciate
that.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Energy from Dillon.
Yeah.
Like, always.
Yeah.
And
we just enjoy being able to highlight people doing things the right way.
Yeah, man. And I never would have expected you to do giveaways on our channel and stuff like that. Dude, I'm so appreciative of not only you being here, but everything you've done. I'm appreciative of all the information that you've given me away from here, personally, between the two of us on stuff. Like, you're just an all-around good dude, man. And, like, I hope that if somebody goes back later in the future and watches this, like, I hope, they see and they're like, man, that guy, he was at this certain level then, but, everybody's going to love you as soon as they get an opportunity to interact with you, man. Like, I really feel that and believe
Thank you, guys. That means a lot, man.
I feel like any customers that you ever have, man, you're going to be a solid dude and always take care. And, you have so much respect for the animals. And, like, I support Dillon 100,000%, man. Like,
thank you, man. Seriously. Thank you. I just love it, man. At the end of the day, like I fell in love with the hobby, not the breeding, you know? So it's like, if I can give back and share stuff, and you know, I guess I didn't mention, we've only been breeding for the past 4 years. I'm 28 now. I've been keeping reptiles since I was 8 years old. So I've worked with a lot of stuff, and I just love it, man. I don't know, I geek out. If I can give back, make somebody smile, like, or if you have questions, because I knew it was hard as hell for me to learn from people. I don't want that mentality anymore. I want to help anybody I can.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
I love that, man. And like I said, that's why I really loved that we got to highlight what you're doing with the rodents and stuff like that. Not that that's your main gig or whatever, but I think that you're really changing the conversation over there, you know, in terms of, like you said, just not having any secrets, you know, not feeling like this knowledge has to be hoarded or whatever, because, you know, by releasing all that, you're helping everyone, you're helping all of us, and you're not going to cost yourself anything. So
I mean, I don't want anybody to get me wrong. I got a lot of shit to learn. I'm learning every day.
Yeah,
and anybody who tells you they're not is a fucking liar.
Yeah,
you know,
100%.
Like you know, one of my little secrets, I suck at palpating. I suck at it, so I went and bought an ultrasound, because I'm like, I can't palpate for shit. I'm like stressing that I'm overworking boys and stuff, you know what I mean?
Yep, that's where I'm at, man. Trust me, it's already it's on my list. Like, the second that it makes sense for me to do financially, I'm gonna have to get one, because it stresses me out too much.
Hit me up, I'll send you the link to the one I got. It was only like $1,200, so like half the price is the one most people recommend. And it's worked really well, and it was super easy to learn. At first I was like, oh shit, I'm not gonna know what to do, this is gonna take forever. It took me like 2 times, and I was like, oh, I got this.
Perfect. That's good to hear.
Marked.
That's good to hear. Yeah, I my goal is probably by like my next season, next year sometime is probably. But yeah, if it's you know, depending on what babies I hatch out from this female that I hope goes, and how many people step up to buy those, and how many I keep, etc. Maybe I can do it sooner than later.
Right. Those ultra males, man. I need to get an ultra male from you.
Yeah, man.
Master
let me know.
ultra male over there.
Yeah, man, I'm really excited. I have to get some sleep tonight, because I have to leave for Georgia in the morning. I'm going to pick up that Krypton female, that leopard Mojave Krypton het ultramel.
God damn.
So leopard Mojave, het clown, het cryptic, het ultramel.
Fuck, female. Dude.
Yeah, and I've got a
female.
Yeah, that's a female, and then I was gonna try to link up with Marshall Mendez, because he's in Alabama, so it's only like 3 hours past that.
Yeah.
To try to pick up my mail, because I got a mail from him coming. It's a pastel clown het ultramel. So.
Oh fuck yeah.
Even if I just pair that male to that female, I'll make nothing but visual clowns, visual kryptons, and then 50% chance to hit ultramels on those combos, plus the Mojave, plus the leopard, plus the pastel. So. Yeah,
either way, you're looking at a fire clutch.
Yeah. In the next 5 years, like, the ultramel stuff's going to get real crazy, at least for me, and I'm excited to see what it. You know, that's just me. There's people that have way more exciting stuff in their collections, so.
Oh, dude, I feel it. I've been looking at it, and it just looks amazing. I just haven't made the jump. I'm like, I already got. I think we're at 5 recessive projects going on. I'm like, I don't know, but it's fucking cool. I need to at least get a female and start raising it up. And
I was gonna say, if nothing else, man, we'll work something out, because I have a normal just het ultramel female that, like, I was gonna probably just keep rather than sell for, you know, like a lesser amount of money. Like, I think they're going for like $150 or something like that. Like, it's worth it for me to just keep. Maybe we can work out some kind of trade or something. We'll figure it out.
Hit me up.
Well, guys, I don't see any questions coming through, with the exception of, I think, Jeremy asked what other, what did he say, dream species, aside from berms? Or what did he say, colubrid? I'm sorry, I'm trying to scroll back up. Species you don't have that you want to get into, and why is it Pataeus?
Okay, I can name 2, but they're not breeding stuff. It's just stuff that are dreams of mine to have.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll give you 3, and this will cover 3 different topics altogether real quick. You ready? Green anaconda, which I will have soon. I want a female, just a big female green Annie. Dream animal. Yeah. I want, and very specifically, an albino Chinese soft shell turtle. They are the cutest little shits, and I
there
just
it is.
want
Turtles always coming up. I fucking love turtles.
And then if I were to pick a colubrid, it would be the pied Muzarani.
There you go.
Nice.
Jeremy will appreciate that.
Yeah, Jeremy do.
Oh yeah. Solid answers, man. Looks like that's it, man. I think everybody else kind of got their stuff in early. I didn't see any other questions. Bradley, did you see anything I missed?
Nah, man. Dillon, if you've got a final thought you want to throw out real quick.
I mean, should I be nice and pull Persephone out for Kayla?
Yeah, we can do that.
All right. I'll do that.
I mean, she's already getting a snake for free, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, come on, Kayla. I'll show you Persephone, though. She's cool.
Yeah, Dillon's got some beautiful animals over there, man. Like I said, I feel like this dude doesn't get the recognition that he should. Like even look at his snake room. His snake room's so fucking nice and clean. I love it.
Oh. That is Persephone.
She's beautiful, man. What all is going on there?
GHI Mojave Yellow Belly.
I knew there was something else in it. I figured.
Yep, she is. Yeah. The camera is really washing her out because I have the lights back here.
Sure.
She is almost jet black. Yeah. Like obviously not as black as my coat, but
yeah, that's a dark GHI Mojave though for her. Like, and she's obviously got some size to her. She's what,
breeding.
Like 3 years old. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, she's a really pretty example. That's beautiful.
Love this girl. She's actually just sitting at like 24 millimeter follicles right now.
Yeah, yeah.
I think we counted 7 when I was doing it. So
hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for her. That'll be a cool babies for sure.
What's she paired to, if you don't mind me asking?
Leopard Blade Clown Probable Plus.
Nice.
And then as a backup, we threw in. Actually, shit, I'm going to have to... Oh, hold on. My list is right in front of me. Sorry, I got to look at it.
No,
her backup is our pastel gravel male.
No big deal.
So, I mean, either way...
Yeah, you win.
Yeah.
That's killer, man. Hell yeah.
So, looking forward to that, man. I don't have a lot of, like, visual clown females. So,
right.
If I can produce some het clown females that are powerhouses to grow up, that would be cool.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. It's expensive, and yeah, so that's why I like the idea of having the double hets and working the clown project with the ultra male, just because that way it's like worst case scenario I can always pivot and use, you know, if I get some crazy clown male later on or something, I can still do that.
Oh hell yeah!
You know, ultra male just being aside. So
I only have one double recessive project we're working on, and I really haven't brought it up. I think I've maybe told like a handful of people and. You know, occasionally brought it up in a live, but haven't posted about it, is I have a group of double het hypo puzzles growing up.
Nice.
So I'm stoked about that project for sure.
Yeah, that's a combination I know a lot of people are excited about.
Yeah, that, and then we're doing spot nose het puzzle to both a het puzzle currently. She's actually really close. And then later in the year, our yellow belly het puzzle will be ready. So spot nose yellow belly puzzles, and then work that into the hypo puzzle stuff.
Spot nose puzzle, I don't think I've seen that yet. Has that been pretty
I believe
crazy?
Will's made them. They're pretty cool.
I was going to say, I can't imagine nobody's made them, and I just know I probably just hadn't seen them. I figured.
Yeah, no, it's a cool interaction. And, you know, same as like the yellow belly puzzle stuff. But I think when you really add those in and then throw hypo in there, it's going to make it fucking pop.
Yeah.
I believe Will's produced them because I asked him and he said they looked badass, but I went back on his page and couldn't find shit. And I was like, well, I want to know what it's going to look like.
Yeah. And, you know, I
didn't even know they were produced. I just thought about it and was like, oh, I need this. This is
he's
in my head.
It sounds stuff awesome. Where it was like, he posted it as like just like a hashtag Batman. And then we find out later that it was like a Wookiee Batman or something, you know?
Right.
Like, he's like, yeah, I'm just not going to mention it. Maybe people won't notice that there's anything special. And I'm super curious.
He hinted to the point where the clown puzzle was super unimpressive and wasn't that cool, but then didn't post it. And I'm like, I'm just sitting here, come on, I got to see this.
Yeah. Yeah,
he's thinking about hypo puzzle clowns. Now I'm second guessing
it. He's worse than Kabilka. Kabilka, we just have to like theorize what he's hiding from us. Will literally tell you what he's hiding from you. Like, yes, I have this. Yep. It's great, or it's shit, and no, you can't see it either way.
Right?
You have to wait.
Like, fuck. Oh man.
So, But yeah, I think that'll work out well for him in terms of building some hype around those projects for sure. He's a smart guy. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I might have to personal message him. He's really nice. He's talked to me a few times, so I might have to be like, "Hey, I know you're not posting that spot nose yellow belly puzzle, but what the fuck does it look like? Because I'm already shooting for it."
Yeah, he's a good dude, man. He was in the comments on one of the lives that I did. I don't remember if it was mine or if it was one that I just joined in on. But yeah, like went and followed me on YouTube right away, like subscribed to my channel and stuff. And like we didn't really hardly have any interaction, but it was I just appreciated the support. I just thought that was pretty cool. So same thing. I sent him a message just to say thank you. And again, I know he gets a million messages a day. So anytime anybody can take a second to respond, I always appreciate it. And he was real nice. So. Nothing but good things. I think we're done, gents. It sounds like everybody got what they wanted. They got some of your animals, they got some of your money, and then they got some knowledge. So,
hell yeah.
No complaints, I don't think, out of anybody. Now, this has been a blast, dude. We knew it would be, and I knew the comments were going to be, rolling like they were last week. There's a lot of energy in the chat. So that's been real fun to kind of watch everybody just get hyped, man. So thanks everybody for being here.
Thanks for having me on, you guys. I really appreciate it.
Anytime, seriously.
Yeah, man.
Bradley, you got anything?
Appreciate it. And just want to say thank you to everybody that was here. Huge thank you to Dillon. And make sure you comment and subscribe and like everything if you feel like you are connected by creatures.
Thanks, everybody. Y'all have a great night. Later, guys.